Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 25 and the season finale for season 1 of the More Than Just a Wedding podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Starr, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I thought I would just talk a little bit about the podcast experience and how it has been evolving through season 1. So, how it started was simply just a strong desire of my heart. And I didn't know that podcasting would be a funnel for that. I just, for a very long time, have felt very strongly about the need and want to be able to help more couples planning their weddings. And I think you reach a point as a business owner where you realize you can only effectively take on so many service-based clients. And there's more people to help out there. And in fact, our service-based clients, well, they have us. But I know there's a big audience out there, couples who may not be working with a planner because number one, maybe it doesn't make sense to them. Or number two, maybe the cost just doesn't make sense to them. So this is something I felt so impressed upon to do to be able to help more couples. And as I thought about it and thought about it, it just sort of worked its way out to be in podcast form. And we started off audio only. And with that, there was a lot of learning. And then about the halfway point, we went ahead and took it to video, which added a whole nother layer of complications and things we had to learn. But it's been a great experience. I think when I recorded episode 1, I really didn't know what to think. I didn't know what it could become. I just got to a point where I know I needed to take a step forward and just try and just see. I didn't have the answers. I certainly didn't feel ready. I still don't feel ready, but I had to remind myself this isn't about me. This is about the couples that this podcast is able to help. So now that we've completed 25 episodes, I feel really proud. Just proud because I pushed through something uncomfortable. And even though there was a lot of moments of frustration, I'm proud that myself and my husband, Justin, who has been my podcast behind the scenes editor and just support throughout all of this process, we pushed through every week, releasing consistent new content for 25 weeks in a row. And that feels really, really good. What surprised me most about this experience simply is how much I enjoy it. I enjoy taking a minute to reflect. I think when you are in an industry that you've been in for a very long time, you don't even know what you know. It's become such a layered part of you that unless you prompt yourself with questions or certain topics, you're not necessarily talking about the stories and the knowledge that go into it. So I think my biggest takeaway is simply just how much I've been really enjoying doing this. Some things that I've personally learned through these conversations is just the reminder that education is continuous in any field. I'm continuing to learn things every day within this industry. And being able to have guests and talk to them and learn from them and talk about specific talking points and dig deeper in their areas of expertise have been very insightful. And I'm continuing to learn throughout every podcast that we create. In regards to moments that probably stood out the most, it would be the interview I did with my daughters, Hannah and Emma, before they turned 13. It's really fun to hear their points of view and how they feel their experience has been growing up in an event planning household. That stood out to me. That was really special. And then the podcast I just recently did with my husband, that was a lot of fun because we really hadn't talked about our wedding day in a long time. So I enjoyed having my family members be a part of it. I'll have my son Hunter join one day. He is full of stories and he's quite the character. If someone were to listen to this episode and only this episode, what would I want them to know about wedding planning? Understand that it is overwhelming for anyone planning a wedding. I think that's the biggest surprise because there's so much joy and excitement and beauty that surrounds the idea of wedding planning. People often underestimate the overwhelm and the stress. So just know there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your relationship if you're feeling really stressed about this. It's very normal. And that's why professionals exist in this field because we're still learning too, but we can help you and we can guide you and we can definitely make things ideally less stressful for you. Mistakes that couples make most often would have to be number one, not establishing a budget. I know it is not fun, and I myself am not a natural numbers person. It doesn't bring me any joy. I don't remember numbers well. They feel limiting, but that is where all the answers are and all the creativity lives. If you can give yourself some boundaries, that's going to help with literally every decision you make moving forward for the wedding planning process is having that preferred budget range from the beginning. Things that kept coming up in conversations amongst my guests. I think the number one theme is the fact that there's no such thing as a perfect wedding day. And it's reassuring. That's something I like to share again and again, but it's reassuring to hear, I think, all of my interviewees also say that because, well, first of all, perfection isn't even a real thing, right? It all has perfection lives with expectations, and everyone's expectations are different. So everyone's definition of what perfect would be is different too. But I think the overall tone is just leave a little room for the unexpected. Know that because wedding days are highly emotional and there are often high expectations, as there should be, sometimes there may be things that aren't exactly, don't go exactly to plan. But I will tell you that the most fun storytelling usually is about the moments that go a little off path. Um, let me see. If I were to encourage someone that just got engaged today about where they should start, again, it comes down to that budget and the guest count, and then the ideal window of season of time they would like to get married. You know, what month, what day of the week, and what year, really. Those are kind of the foundational pieces we need to know before we can begin building. If you were to go back and listen to season one of this podcast, what would be the most helpful? Really, anything regarding your venue selections and anything regarding budgeting. And then I really think the individual vendor interviews are very special too, but maybe save those for when you're starting sourcing your vendors and you're going to be planning um, to book those vendors in a window that is near. That would be really fun for you to be able to hear all of their inside behind the scenes stories. Okay, in regards to closing this season, I'm taking a short break. We're going to pause for about 6 weeks while we get ready to launch season two. This is just going to give me a little time to get things cleaned up in the back end. I would like all of these podcasts to be available on our website page on JStar Wedding Company. Half of those are there now. I need to get the other half uploaded so that we have a nice library. Also, we have half of our episodes on YouTube, all of the episodes that took video form, but I'd like to go back and take all the audio files and create those into videos somehow for YouTube so that our library is consistent and clean. Uh, and then I want to get ready for season 2. I want these producing a podcast every week, believe it or not, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of tedious steps. I want to take a minute to systematize every bit of this process so that it can become faster every time Justin and I create new content. And then I want to reach out to upcoming guests and get them on board to interview them. If you have any suggestions for a type of guests, please let me know. I'm excited to have more vendors on. I definitely would love to connect with more venue partners and maybe even a couple of our past couples. I think they would have some really fantastic advice to share. So, as always, everyone, thank you so much for allowing me to continue on this journey. And thank you for sharing this podcast with anyone who you think it would be helpful for. The name of the podcast is More Than Just a Wedding. And to me, wholeheartedly, that means that it's more than just a day. It's more than just a season of your life. This is something that happens sometimes once in a lifetime that is so meaningful, not only in the time period in which it's happening, but over the years and decades to which you reflect upon it. It's a foundation and a timestamp in your life that is completely about your love story. And there's not many opportunities to get to celebrate that. There should be more, but wedding days are really big ones. So enjoy it. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I will return back. I believe the official date, let me just double check, is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. Look forward to the launch of season 2. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.